The coronavirus pandemic has forced people around the world to adjust to new routines, and that includes coping with loneliness, job loss, grief, and more. And to help, Instagram is connecting people to resources from experts to stay well during this very challenging time. CBSN Bay Area's Kenny Choi spoke with Instagram's global head of policy programs and the National Alliance on Mental Illness for some tips.
All right, so during this pandemic and this outbreak, there are so many people who are experiencing stress and anxiety. Very difficult time for so many. So what can people do to kind of relieve some of that stress?
I'll take that question. This is Ken Duckworth from NAMI. Every person is an individual story, but things that down-regulate your physiology, aerobic exercise, deep breathing are two classic examples. Staying away from an addiction vulnerability, which sometimes people use to change their state when they're distressed or anxious. And having virtually no contact with social media, like high-octane coffee after dinner. Protect your sleep in order to prevent you from developing things like depression, recurrence of bipolar disorder, panic disorder. All these things can be triggered by sleep deficits. So I encourage people to have enough information to know that we need to wear masks, when there might be a vaccine, how to avoid the surge, right? That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's important. You want to pass the exam, but you don't want to be so overwhelmed by anxiety that you drop out of school.
Carolyn, Instagram has started a new partnership, and what is Instagram trying to do to help out?
Yeah, so Instagram has partnered with NAMI to create resources specifically for young people to help them cope during this time. So what that looks like is we have resources that are pulled from NAMI's super comprehensive resource guide to COVID, but put down into really visually appealing formats for young people. You can find all of those on NAMI's Instagram that focus on specific topics. And then we have an Instagram live series where we pair young stars who young people are looking up to with mental health experts to have conversations around these topics.
And what are some other ways that Facebook and Instagram or what are they doing to kind of help out?
Yep. So number one is just making sure that we're getting people access to actionable, credible resource. So partnering with organizations like NAMI, with the WHO to make sure, and the SBA, that people have resources. Also just looking at how can we bring people together. So we've launched different things like the Stay Home sticker, which 100 million people have used. You can see that in your Instagram story sticker, really encouraging people to take that seriously. And we're also donating to mental health organizations. We just announced a $2 million foundation or grant to mental health organizations who are on the front lines answering the call to people right now.
Ken, what about you? Let's talk a little bit more about this pandemic and the use of social media during this time. It can be used in a positive way. Sometimes it can be negative. So what is your advice regarding social media and how much time people should kind of put in during this time?
We encourage people to use obviously positive sources of media and to dose it to their own tolerance. I think that the NAMI Communicate pages on Instagram are accessible to young people. One of the reasons we wanted to appeal to young people, Kenny, is 3/4 of all mental health vulnerabilities occur before age 25. And this is the Instagram demographic. So by partnering with compelling stars that appeal to the young people, we're hoping to get accessible, thoughtful information to them to prevent them from running into trouble. And if they need help, to give them guide on how to get help sooner.
Ken, thank you for that. And Carolyn, where can we go for more information about all these different initiatives and programs that are being headed up by Facebook and Instagram?
Yep. So you can go to NAMI's Instagram. It's NAMI Communicate. We've also launched a partnership with NAMI and 5 other mental health organizations with Netflix. So you can go to Netflix Instagram. Over the next 6 weeks, you can see a series of pairings of experts and Netflix stars talking about these different mental health topics.
All right, Carolyn and Ken, thank you so much for all your insight and all the advice during these times. And please stay safe.